In this video, we are going to see about the orbital elements. Generally, the orbital elements or the Earth's orbiting artificial satellite elements. The main purpose of these orbital elements is to identify the satellites and predict the location of the satellites, and also to determine the amount and the direction of manner or perturbation. So these are the 6 mathematical parameters which are used to describe the satellite's location and their motion. In general, we have 6 elements in the Keplerian element set, which are the 6 orbital elements: semi-major axis, eccentricity, mean anomaly, augment perigee, inclination, right accession of right nodes. The first parameter, it is size or period. So this parameter is defined by the semi-major axis and it is denoted by a letter notation A. Based on the semi-major axis, there are 4 sizes of orbits satellites are in use. Low Earth orbit, which are approximately 122,200 miles above the Earth. Median Earth orbit or semi-synchronous orbit, which are approximately 12,000 miles above the Earth. Highly elliptical orbit, that are from 100 miles to several 100,000 miles above the Earth, and a distinct orbit like geostationary or geosynchronous orbit, which are approximately 22,300 miles from the Earth. Second parameter, it is a shape. It defines the shape of the orbit. The shape of the orbit, it is not a circular orbit and it is not a not circular orbit. It is like a ellipse. This elliptical orbit is called as the eccentricity. Ellipticity of the orbit is called as the eccentricity. Based on the eccentricity, the orbit's shape will be defined and the types are defined. There are some sort of circular orbits and elliptical orbits are also available. As we have a circular with a constant radius, the characteristics of the orbit, it has these satellites that are moving in a constant speed. In elliptical orbit, the radius is not constant, so the satellite, the object, the moving on the orbit, it will vary in space and vary in amplitude. So some of the typical examples of circular orbit are GPS, geosynchronous, and weather determination. Elliptical orbit, they are used in communications, missiles, and for deep surveillance purposes. This is the eccentricity, which was denoted by E as a notation. If E is equal to 0, the orbit is in a circular manner. If E is increased to 0.5, it is somewhat elliptical. If it is furthermore increased with 0.75, it is more elliptical than 0.45. So as E prolongates, the ellipticity also prolonged. Third one, it is the angle of inclination. Angle of inclination, it denotes about the tilt of the orbit. If it is 0°, the orbit is in the equator. If it is 90°, you are in the polar orbit. That is a satellite in the polar orbit. So based on inclination, there are orbits like equatorial orbit, which has I is equal to 0 or 180°. The orbit is in the equator. If the angle of inclination lies between 0 to 90°, the orbit is called as prograde orbit. If the angle of inclination is equal to 90°, the orbit is polar orbit. If the angle of inclination lies between 90° to 180°, it is retrograde orbit. So based on the angle of inclination, the orbits will differ: polar, equatorial, prograde, and retrograde. Next parameter is the right accession parameter. So right accession parameter, it denotes about the twist of the tilt. How it is, how the particular orbit is tilted. It is the right accession. It is actually measured from the fixed point in the space. The fixed point in the space, it is measured here. This point is called as the first point of Aries. And from this Aries, how much tilt, how much twist the orbit is making. So this is the right accession of the ascending node, which is denoted as in an omega, that is as in the unit of degrees. Right decision, where the satellite will cross the equator on the next ascending pass. It is measured in a degree. So this is a fixed point, and this is the angle of right ascension, which was measured in degrees. Next parameter, it is the argument of perigee. Argument of perigee, it is a measurement from the fixed point in the space to where the perigee occurs in the orbit. It is a measurement. So this particular, you know that our perigee, it is the shortest distance from the Earth to the orbit. So this perigee, it is defined, and this, it is the fixed point in the space. It is the angle of Aries we have seen in the last slide. So it is the argument of perigee is a measurement from the fixed point Aries to the perigee. Perigee, it is the shortest distance from the Earth to that particular orbit. So this angle, it is defined as the argument of perigee, which is measured in degrees. True anomaly. True anomaly, it is a measurement of fixed point in the space to the actual location of the satellite. It is, we know the, as usual, we know the fixed point in the space, it is the first point of Aries, and from that where the angle is there. So this is the angle. So this is where the satellite is there. So this particular angle, it is measured in degrees. This is called as the true anomaly. From the parameter true anomaly, we can define where the satellite is, where the particular orbit, where the particular object is on the orbit. Current location of the satellite will be obtained from the true anomaly. On a summary, we have 6 elements of Keplerian set. These 6 elements are a mathematical parameters. That mathematical parameters will define the location of the orbit, location of the object in the orbit, and the position and size of the orbit. All these can be determined. So from this Keplerian set elements, we can define where the object will be, object or the satellite will be in the future, or where it was in the past. All those elements, all those details can be obtained from the Keplerian set. So there are 6 elements in the Keplerian set. The first one, it is semi-major axis, denoted by the symbol A, which defines the size of the orbit. So based on the size of the orbit, we have 4 different types of orbit, and eccentricity E. Based on the eccentricity, we have 2 different types of orbit, circular and elliptical. Generally, the orbit is not circular, it is somewhat elliptical based on the eccentricity value. Angle of inclination, it is the tilt of the orbit, and right accession of right nodes, it gives about the orientation of the ascending node, And argument of Perigee, it also defines about the orientation of the ellipse in the plane. And true anomaly, it defines about the object's current location in the orbit. So all these parameters will contribute to find the direction of the object and location of the object and the nature of the orbit on the nature of the object on the orbit. Kindly scan the QR code to review the video. Thank you.